Hello, you're welcome. In this video, we are going to be looking at how we can work with complex numbers in Excel. So there are a couple of functions that I will be demonstrating in this video that you can use to perform analysis when you are provided complex numbers in Excel. So we'll start by how we can even create these complex numbers. So we can either enter them manually or we use the complex function to create these very kind of numbers. So we are going to be using complex function in this video, but the method of entering it manually is still same. Just the same number that you want as complex, you enter, just type it in, and you have your complex number. So let's see how this works. We are going to enter two complex numbers here, and then we use that to perform series of other kind of calculations that will help you understand functions that we use with complex numbers. So the first that I want to create is a complex number that deals with 6 and 2. So I will use complex here. Enter complex. The first number is 6 and the second is 2. Then you observe once I close and enter, you see that the complex number 6 plus 2i has been created. The second complex number that I want to create will involve 5 and minus 4. Okay, and it will also contain this I and not J. So I will do complex here, then select 5 minus 4. Once I enter, you see it is 5 minus 4i. Okay, and this one, since I didn't enter minus after the 2, it is 6 plus 2i. Now, what if I want to use J instead of I? If I want to use J instead of I, after I enter my numbers, the complex numbers that I want to use, I will enter J in inverted commas in this form. So if I enter my complex function, and then let me use this 6 and 2 again. So I enter 6, then enter 2, then I will select this. Okay, and you can see it's in inverted commas, and so you can see this is now 6 plus 2. Now the next thing that we're going to be looking at is how we can get the real part. Okay, so we extract the real part of the complex number, which in this case, for example, in the case of C2, the real part is 6. So let's see how we can extract the real part of this complex number here. So to extract the real part of this very complex number, we are going to be using the IMREAL. Okay, then we select the very complex number that we want to extract its real part. So I will use IMREAL, then select this C1, C2, and enter. So you see it extracts the real part, which is this 6. Another thing that we can do is to get the imaginary parts. So we can extract the imaginary part, this C2 for example, and the imaginary part you can see is this 2. So how do we do this? So we are going to be using the imaginary function here to get this. So I will do imaginary, and then I select this, select C2 and enter. And you can see it returns 2 for me. Another thing we can do is to return the conjugate. So we can return a complex conjugate. And the function we are going to be using in this case will be IMCONJUGATE. So I will do IMCONJUGATE, and I'll select this C2. And you can see it returns the conjugate for us. Here we have a plus sign, and you can see here we have a minus sign. We can also return the phase angle. Okay, so when we are working with arguments, we can return the phase angle. So which function do we use to return this phase angle? To return this phase angle, we are going to be using the IMArguments function. So enter IMArguments here. Now still select this, and this returns the phase angle, this very complex number. We can return the absolute value as well. So we return the modulus of the complex number. So which function do we use to perform this operation? We are going to be using the IMABS for this. So I'll enter IMABS and I'll still select this C2. And this returns our absolute value, okay, the modulus of this complex number. So you can see how easy it is. We don't have to go through the challenge of creating a long formula, performing series of calculations that will take us time. In Excel, you just use a simple function and you have the results returned instantly. Next thing that we are going to be looking at is summation, how we can add two complex numbers. So for this, we are going to be adding C2 and C3. And the function we are going to be using is the IMSUM. So I will do IMSUM here. And I'll select this C2 and select C3. And you can see 6 and 5, 11, and 2 and -4, -2. We can also take the difference of complex numbers. So we subtract two complex numbers. So in this case, we are going to be using the IMSUB function. So I'll select this as my first number, and then I'll be subtracting this from it. And here you can see the result of this subtraction, which is correct. We can also multiply. Okay, we can take the product, multiply two complex numbers as well. The function we are going to be using in this case will be the IMPRODUCT. So I will do IMPRODUCT and select this first one, select the second one. So if you use your mathematical formula to perform this very calculation for the product of the two complex numbers, you will arrive at this result. We are also going to look at the division, how we divide two complex numbers. So we use the IMDIV for this. So we do IMDIV. This is my first number, my second number, and we have successfully divided this, our complex number. We can return the square root of the complex number as well. So to return the square root of our complex number, we use the IM square. So I'll do IM square root and select this number. So this gives us the square root of this complex number. You can check this by also using your mathematical formula and following through. But Excel makes it quite easier for us. We just enter and we have the result instantly. If we want to get the natural logarithm, our complex number, we can do this as well. Just as the ln function helps us return the natural logarithm of a normal number in Excel, the IMLN will help us return for the complex numbers. So if I do IMLN and select this, it will help me return the natural logarithm of this complex number. And finally, we are going to be seeing how you can use, or rather, how you can return the sign of complex numbers. So in Excel, we can use the IMSIGN function to effectively return the sign of complex numbers. So if I do IMSIGN and I select this, it returns the sign for this complex number. And there are so many other that have to do with these complex numbers. I just picked out this few to demonstrate how you can use these functions in Excel. You can check other complex functions, okay? The functions you can use on complex numbers from the Excel documentation. And I hope you've been able to find this video helpful. Please, if you have, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.